All right, guys, today we're going to be talking about a little bit of an overstride here. We're going to be talking about good mechanics back here in the pocket in terms of your hips and where you're angling your head and how that makes you a more accurate passer here. So we're going to be looking at this throw by Josh Allen in the pocket here. So now was critiqued, obviously, coming out of the draft a little bit for having this long stride, right? We're just going to talk about why he has the long stride. I think he's personally fixed it from the clips that I've seen, that he has got a better stride, a quicker front stride. So I'm not too worried about it, but sometimes when the pocket breaks down, we resort to some things that we might be a little bit more comfortable with, right? But this is still an absolute shot downfield. It's just we're going to talk about the reason why behind it, right? So you see how when he's here, quarterbacks, we're trying to produce ground force off this back leg, right? But when my feet are underneath my shoulders, right, I tend to have a little bit longer of a stride, and it takes a while to get down. You look at a guy like Drew Brees, his base is already here before he even starts the throw, right? But when we start pushing off of this back leg here to start the throw, it takes a little bit longer to get that front foot down, right? And it's a little bit longer of a motion. But when we can already start, not necessarily this wide, but about here, if we can already start with my base that wide, I can really drive off the back leg. I get my front foot down, and that makes the whole process above my shoulders happen a little bit quicker, right? So now he does a great job of keeping this front hand tight, but the main thing I want to talk about is his head here, because what a lot of young quarterbacks tend to do is when they rotate through, they don't have enough drive from their hips, they don't have a solid front leg, and they resort to swinging their shoulders out of it. When we take this ball back, fellas, and this ball's starting to rotate up to this 90-degree angle or wherever it is, doesn't even be a perfect 90 straight up, your hip is already starting to come through. What a lot of people still do is they have their hips pointed towards the sideline, and so they're not rotating enough with their hips, so they resort to the only thing to get the ball out of there. They lean out with their shoulder, they lean out with their head, and what that does is that pushes their follow-through away from their body. But what Allen does a great job of is keeping his shoulders square to the target, keeping his shoulders here, I'll draw a better square, keeping his shoulders square to the target and not leaning his head out of there. And that's what makes him a more accurate passer. That's what keeps his release angle nice and clean, able to drive that back hip through. Is a great shot. Let's watch it again one more time. So again, a little bit of an overstride, makes up for it by having great upper body mechanics. That's the key to having upper body mechanics. Keep your head steady. Don't swing that shoulder and lean.